Mr. Speaker, for the purposes of debate only, I yield the customary 30 minutes to the gentlewoman from Pennsylvania, pending which I yield myself such time as I may consume. During consideration of this resolution, all time yielded is for the purpose of debate only. I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days to revise and extend their remarks.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we're here today to debate the rule providing for consideration of H.R. 357 and H.R. 1147. It provides a structured rule for H.R. 1147 and makes it in order bipartisan and Republican amendments. Provides 1 hour of debate equally divided and controlled by the Committee on Education and Workforce, and provides 1 motion to recommit. The rule further provides for consideration of H.R. 357 under a closed rule with 1 hour of debate equally divided and controlled by the Committee on the Judiciary and 1 motion to recommit. Under our Constitution, those who make the laws are accountable to those who elect them. Career federal employees are not beholden to the voters of this nation, and yet unelected bureaucrats across the federal agencies, and in one case in particular, a single low-level career employee, have been making thousands of rules that impact this country's voters and taxpayers. According to a recent Pacific Legal Foundation study, career employees and unconfirmed officials issued over 70% of the rules at the Department of Health and Human Services between 2021 and 2017. These rules have economic impacts on the people of this country, just as the laws we pass in this chamber do. Yet, we are accountable to the voters who elect us. Federal employees, they are accountable to no one. Former President Trump addressed this issue with an executive order that required agencies' informal notice and comment rules to be initiated and signed by senior appointees with exceptions. The Biden administration has revoked that. And the result of revoking this order? In 2021, Congress passed just 143 laws, while federal agencies issued 3,257 rules, costing taxpayers $1.927 trillion, or the equivalent of $14,684 per household. According to the study, only 2% of the Food and Drug Administration's rules were issued by principal officers, and 25 of these rules had an impact on the American economy of at least $100 million or had other substantial economic impacts. That means unelected bureaucrats who are not accountable to the taxpayers are costing those taxpayers thousands upon thousands of dollars. This majority has made a commitment to ensuring our federal government is held accountable. The Ensuring Accountability in Agency Rulemaking Act would lessen the power of career civil servants who are not accountable to the taxpayer. It would require, with exceptions, that rules be issued and signed by presidentially nominated and Senate-confirmed appointees. This upholds the Constitution and by putting decisions in the hands of those who are held accountable to the American people. It improves the ways this government is by the people and for the people. We are also here to discuss the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act. And Mr. Speaker, coming from one of the top dairy producing districts in the country, I am proud to stand here in support of this legislation. The bill expands milk options for the school lunch programs under the Richard B. Russell National School Lunch Act to include flavored, unflavored, whole, and reduced fat milks. Whole milk has been demonized as unhealthy, but it is full of calcium, potassium, vitamin D, and protein that growing kids need. Since the misguided Obama-era regulations were put into place that the Biden administration has chosen to continue, rather than seeing health improve, we have continued to see child health decline. We have also fewer people participating in the school lunch program. Like many of the regulations that took place at that time, the milk restrictions are not having their intended effect. Meanwhile, dairy farmers in my district are struggling. Milk prices and demand remain stubbornly low, in most cases below the margin of your average dairy farm. And for what purpose? Because the federal government places arbitrary restrictions on the meals of our children that our children can enjoy. This bill is a win-win for children and producers alike. It gets kids the nutrients they need while giving schools more flexibility to meet the needs of their students, and it provides a larger market for dairy farmers to sell their delicious product they stand proudly behind. I support the underlying legislation and urge all members to do so. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I reserve.
The gentlewoman from Minnesota.